Zilli. I'm the Director of Professional Learning for Illinois Digital Educators Alliance. We've been working hard to make sure that we're supporting you during this crazy time, and I know a lot of us got some kind of jarring news on Friday that schools are going to be closed in Illinois for the rest of the year. So never fear, we're here for you. We're going to be sharing some live sessions with you every day this week. This morning, we're very fortunate to have Sam Gleaston and Andy Halverson from BitSpace here to talk a little bit about reverse engineering and design thinking. Later on in the week, we have a yoga session, an art session, a meditation session, and some music sessions as well. So we're going to go back to the music classroom on Friday and have a good old-fashioned sing-along. So we want to make sure that you're taking care of yourselves as well as your students at this time. But IDEA is so honored to have BitSpace as a partner throughout this time. They really have been working tirelessly to create some incredible experiences online that kind of mimic what we do in the classroom, but really think about it in this new element, this new world that we're living in. So they have some resources to share with you today. They're going to talk a little bit about this idea of reverse engineering. And then we have some free goodies and some giveaways at the very end. So I would love to introduce you to Sam and Andy, who are going to share some thoughts with you this morning. Sam and Andy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lindsay, and thanks for having us. It's really fun for us to be here. So Andy and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the work that we're doing, but also just how do you incorporate design thinking and reverse engineering into the classroom when you can't be in the classroom with your students? So how do you do that remotely? And just thinking about design thinking, if we just think of it as, yes, it's that process of using empathy to define a problem and then coming up with ideas, prototyping and testing. But really, teachers do it all the time, all day, every day, when they take a student who's not understanding a concept and find a different way to teach that lesson and reach those students, like using cooking to teach fractions as opposed to just writing it on paper. They do it all day, every day. And what I've been so impressed with lately is how teachers are doing it right now as they think about how do we approach the classroom remotely. They're doing it. They're pivoting. They're figuring out new ways and some really cool, awesome ways that they're doing that. So it's really fun for us to be able to work with teachers and think about how do we bring that into the classroom remotely.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting when you think about reverse engineering an entire classroom. I've been thinking about it kind of like stepping into your classroom for the first time at the beginning of a new school year, is you're creating that new classroom environment, that new classroom culture. But it's just in a completely new space. So it's like, I'm also imagining our classroom as like a loaf of bread, and we're taking that loaf and we're bringing it back down into the dough, rolling it out, seeing the most important parts, picking those, and then putting it back in the oven, letting it develop, seeing how it comes out.
Yeah. I love this comment from Heather here. This is super fun. Creating a foosball table and using, hummingbird bits and makey to play the game. That is so super cool, right? What an awesome way to teach so many different things, both technology and like game design, right? I mean, like what a right. And that's something that's so physical and so tangible. And it might seem daunting to think like, how do we then take something like that is so physical and so in your hands, materials, teacher presenting something, right? How do you do that remotely, right? And I think one of the things that we've been thinking a lot about is it gives us an opportunity, and teachers have been doing this already, right? To think about, well, let's break it apart, right? What is learning? What does learning mean? Right? What does it mean to learn? And when we start to think about that, and we really define how we learn in the classroom, and then we can start thinking about how do we learn outside of the classroom. As we think about what learning is, there's so many different things, and we can really expand our definition of learning, and we have to right now, right? That's the other thing. Like we're in a position where teachers have no choice but to expand their ideas about what it means to learn and find those ways to to reach out to their students in all sorts of new crazy ways that they're doing. It's really
Absolutely.
amazing.
And not only like reaching back out to their students, but reaching out to each other. And just like we're doing here, we're seeing some awesome examples of how that learning is taking place. And so just keeping that communication going in between ourselves so that, of course, we know we're not alone in this, but sometimes it certainly can feel that way.
Yeah, definitely. And something, Sam, that you said earlier that I really liked was that we need to see this time right now as an opportunity, not just a problem. And so if we think of it from that lens, then it seems more manageable, and it seems like a battle that we can fight versus something that is, placed upon us. So I really think that no matter the age, first graders all the way up to, adults can, participate in this kind of reverse engineering idea. And one way that we can do it, Sam, we were talking a little bit earlier about something that we could actually do right now. So do you want to kind of give everybody a little bit of a taste from a student perspective?
Sure. So this is something that, and literally I'm just reaching, I have a lot of things around me. So if we just think about, one of the things that has been so fun to me is thinking about space and the physical environment, right? And the engineering and design that goes into it, because especially now that we're in the same space all the time and surrounded by the same things, how do those things affect our lives? How do we use them? What's the engineering that went into them, right? And so I just picked this up. This is my daughter's retainer case, right? But if I were to pick this up, right, and look at it, and I could think about what's the engineering that went into this? There's a lot of thought that went into the design of this. So what is it? Well, it's a case to hold some orthodenture. Why was it created? It was created so that my daughter and other 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds kids don't lose their pieces, their work. And what's its intended use? I can ask myself questions about it. So why was it made in this way? Why was it made all out of plastic? How do I think it was made? Maybe it was a mold. How did they test the hinge? Why did they choose to make the hinge out of the same piece? Just questioning the world around you and asking some really interesting questions. I think we think of reverse engineering as actually taking apart an old toy or taking apart a calculator or a computer, but we can intellectually take something apart as well and really think about it, from the smallest little thing to an institution like school and education. We can deconstruct it a little bit to get a better understanding of what it is.
Absolutely. And we are so fortunate that the BitSpace team has put together this lesson plan that you see here. That's essentially a choice board. So they've done the pre-work for you. You can use Sam's example here as kind of your engagement hook of reverse engineering. Just grab something within arm's reach. Why was it created? What's its purpose? And that's your beginning. That's where you start with this whole idea of reverse engineering. From there, you can utilize this really amazing choice board. They've got some questions to start with that you could easily pop into Google Classroom or Seesaw or whatever LMS you're using. And then there's 4 different options for your students to design with. In addition to the lesson plan, we also have created a slide deck that you can share with your students as well, which I'll pop into the chat in a minute here. But the slide deck is essentially the same idea. So we've got those starting questions, but then it's an interactive choice board where kids can associate icons with their learning. So taking a picture of what learning looks like for them right now, today, versus what it used to look like. And just going through this process, I think provides some social emotional learning in addition to the idea of this reverse engineering as well. And then finally, what I wanted to point out is our friends at BitSpace have been so generous in offering a discount code. So Andy, do you want to share a little bit about what that discount code might get our members?
Absolutely. So this discount code is going to give you some access to some of the content that we've been working on for a really long time. We have professional development courses focusing on design thinking. We will later this week be releasing a prosthesis engineering challenge, which I am very excited about. We've partnered with this group called Enable and 3D Universe, and the work that they're doing is truly amazing and inspiring. You will also have access to our Facebook educators group, where Sam and I are doing a lot more live conversations like this, talking about issues at hand and just work that we have been curating here at BitSpace.
So lots of great things. And go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just going to add on to that. And we have a design thinking challenge in there, too, that you can link to. And then you can either present those ideas to your students via whatever platform you're using, or you can use the downloadable links and send them the links to have them do those challenges, too.
So if you're not already a member of IDEA, membership is free. And if you access our slide deck from BitSpace, you can join free. Make sure that you're keeping track of all the goings on with our Facebook page as well as BitSpace's Facebook page, because they have some really incredible material that they're pushing out on a daily basis. Again, we're better together, and we know the smartest person in the room is the room, so we might as well utilize each other during this crazy time. So thank you so much, Sam and Andy, for joining us this morning. I'm looking forward to collaborating with you two more, and hopefully those of you watching got a little idea that you can utilize with your students maybe later on this week. We'd love to see some feedback, maybe in the comments, of how you're using this idea of reverse engineering with your students. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.